Welcome to episode 39 of the Left Behind Game Club. This week, we enter the third part of our Hitman series, where we travel to Sapienza. We've done 2 parts in this series already, so if you haven't listened to those, just go back to episode 37 and 38. You may want to listen to those first. Other than that, you can find everything Left Behind Game Club at leftbehindgame.club, on Instagram at leftbehindgameclub, on Twitter at leftbehindclub, and on our Discord. You can find the link to that on our website. But back to Hitman. It took 3 episodes, but Mo finally started asking some very important questions.
Can we talk about what that instinct mode was? Is he a superhero? Batman gets away with it because he's freaking Batman. Assassin's Creed, it's still a digital game
that
where
for you the understanding is he's Batman. I think it's supposed to represent his highly trained senses.
So
trained senses.
I think that's where you're hung up. It's not I just walk up to people and murder them with a pistol. It's tell me, what are the motivations of this character's instincts mode? I love that's where you're caught up.
You're listening to the Left Behind Game Club. Welcome to Left Behind Game Club, our never-ending attempt to make sure that no game is left behind. I'm your host, McCourt, and today I've got 2 friends with me. First friend, he's sitting here right next to me. His name is Michael Ruffolo.
Hi, I'm very excited to talk about a great episode.
Let's continue to talk about such a fun video game.
What a game, boys.
What a game.
What a game, what a game, what a mighty good game.
She's good.
Murtadi, great video game, right?
Oh, I love it. One of my favorite series of all time. Another great episode we just played, and I'm excited to talk about it.
So, just letting you know before we get into it, we have talked about the prologue and the final test, as well as a setup of the game, as well as episode 1 previously. So if you're picking up right here, you may want to listen to those 2 episodes first. They're the last 2 episodes in the podcast feed. Just throw open your favorite podcast app, grab those episodes first, start there, and then come back to us.
Let's pick up right where we left off. We finished with killing 2 international models / designers in Paris, and then if you're Jacob, no matter how you did this, you hopped in a plane and you flew off, and we're led to a cinematic where we're explained that we're heading to Italy now, where there is this genius bioengineer who's developing a virus that's tailored to an individual person's DNA. And apparently the agency you're working for, the ICA, has moral objections to this type of warfare, despite, this being something that would put them out of business.
We need to kill people the old-fashioned way.
If you're going to kill someone, it's got to be person killing person. It doesn't matter that we have people who are raised and genetically designed to not have emotion when killing, who are effectively robots.
Use your hands.
Yes, exactly. Or in the case of Mo, some weapons.
Or in the case of you, some poison.
That's fair.
Good morning, 47. Your destination is the coastal town of Sapienza, also known as the Jewel of the Amalfi Coast. Your target is a former client of ours, Silvio Caruso, a brilliant but troubled bioengineer employed by the Ether Biotech Corporation. Renowned for his early stem cell research, Caruso is now reportedly working on a far more disturbing project. A DNA-specific virus able to infect anyone, anywhere in the world. Imagine a bullet, fired in any direction, passing through countless bodies without inflicting harm, invisible and undetectable until it strikes its target. A world of armchair assassins killing with impunity. This is what awaits us, unless Caruso is stopped. Our client, one of Ether's major private stockholders, wants the project cancelled on ethical grounds, but without destroying the company in the process. She has asked us to eliminate Silvio Caruso and destroy the yet unfinished virus prototype. You will also need to deal with Caruso's lab head, Francesca De Santis, a high-level Ether employee and cutthroat corporate climber who holds intimate knowledge of Caruso's research and could potentially carry on in his place. This is no ordinary contract, 47. Caruso's virus is a serious threat to our craft and trade, not to mention our core ideals. So failure is not an option. I'll leave you to prepare.
And so we're sent and we're told this guy is a travel phobe. He does not like leaving his place. So they've built a state-of-the-art laboratory and system underneath his house. And so we're going to send you to Sapienza, and you're going to have to figure out how to take care of him. But not only do you have to take care of this guy who does not like leaving his compound and is under serious supervision by the bodyguards of the company that he works for, Ether. But you also have to take out his second in command, the lab supervisor. Let's see, I think her name was Francesca De Santis. Because if he dies, she will likely to be able to take over because she's very familiar with his research. And so that's the setup, and they drop you right into sunny Italy with a nice Italian summer suit. Mo.
There's also the third objective, which is to destroy the virus. Because once you take them two out,
because it was so easy.
Yeah.
Was
it? Okay. Jacob.
That was the hardest part.
I think we're on the same page, but we'll get into it in a bit. But yeah, that's the third objective. It's the first time they introduce a non-killing objective where you have to complete a task that's not really killing someone. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I can jump into, I guess, my path first, and then we'll kind of jump through.
I like hearing about how you use guns to kill people, so just tell me about it.
Before I get into it, I just want to say this mission I'm not the most proud of. Let's just say that to start it off. The first thing you do is when you land, they're placed in the default landing position, because I know, Mike, you kind of like to place yourself in other places and get a different loadout. The default one for us was you're in the kind of market square where there's like a little restaurant, and the first little alert or blip is you kind of hear that there's this therapist that's kind of hanging out directly in front of you, and it's a therapist.
What?
Nope, that's not what happened with me.
That's not what happened with me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No one did this? Okay, well, I'm excited.
Oh, tell me your story. Tell me your story. Walk me through what happened.
Oh, this game. I love it.
I can't believe you guys did it. I was convinced that we all probably did this first part and did this first. Okay, great. So anyway, you're walking up the staircase, and there's like a cafe kind of area where there's like a pizza store and all that good stuff. And there's a therapist who's kind of smoking a cigarette, and you come to find out that he has an appointment with, what was the guy's name? Silvio, yeah.
Caruso.
He has a meeting with Silvio, so as soon as I see that, I'm like, I might be able to look like him soon. So let's kind of figure out how we're going to do this.
His size looks like my size. I wonder if he likes to take naps in cold places.
With a gunshot wound in his head.
Yeah.
So I kind of roam around. It took me a while, maybe like an hour, to kind of figure out how to eventually get his uniform. But what I eventually ended up doing was I concealed myself as one of the waiters. I gave him his coffee to drink, and it was poison coffee. The poison I got from the kitchen. Yeah, the poison I got from the kitchen of this little pizza area, this little cafe. And I was able to sneak in through like a side door. One of the workers came out for a smoke, left the door wide open. I walked in right behind him. He didn't see me. I ended up getting into the kitchen, finding the rat poison, coming back outside, subduing with the waiter, grabbing his uniform, putting the rat poison in the coffee. The therapist drinks the coffee, starts like puking, wanting to go to the bathroom. I follow him all the way into a bathroom. I want to say there was another person in the bathroom with him, so I took them both down. And I took them both down, and I hid the therapist. I think there was something in there that I hid him into. Took his uniform and jogged on into the compound. They are like, "Oh, okay, go to the one area. The guy will be waiting for you."
Hold on. Did they pat you down when you went into the compound?
Yes.
Okay. Did you guys have weapons and stuff on you when they patted you down?
I tossed it beforehand, because first time I did it, I saw the pat down, and then I walked away, dropped stuff off, and then I went back into the pat down.
And see, I was looking for a garbage can because I wanted to like dispose of my weapon in a clean way. I wanted to be like, oh, I don't want a little boy to grab my gun and shoot himself. Like, let me put this in the garbage. But I ended up just dropping it like right in front of the gate. I'm like, oh, this gun. Bleh.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. I freaked out when they said like, oh, they're gonna frisk you, and then I realized like, oh no, a bunch of these items I'm not allowed to have on me, and they will notice them when they frisk me. So I walked 10 paces from the gate, and I just started pulling out every illegal item that I had, which at this point was near the end of the mission. So I had picked up everything. I had picked up combat weapons. I had picked up kitchen knives. I had picked up sledgehammers. I picked up everything. I just started dropping a clown car sized pile of items 10 feet from the gate, and then walked over to them and said, like, okay, I'm good now.
Hold on. You said that you collected all this stuff before you went into the gated area?
We'll get to my story later.
I'm just as intrigued, Jacob, because, like, Michael, you're the expert at, like, using poison and a bunch of stuff like that. I want to know how you managed to, like, live without your tools.
Should I say how I got into the compound?
I want to hear the rest of Mo's stories, and then we'll come around.
I'm so upset I have to tell all the right ending of this. Okay, here we go. So, okay, I get into the unit. This is the only, like, cool part. If you guys didn't do the therapist one, you kind of missed out on some pretty funny ways of taking someone down. So, you sit down, you're waiting for Silvio
Silvio
to come.
Caruso.
You're sitting in your chair. He comes and lays down on the couch right next to you. You're probably sitting, like, right near his head. And he's laying down. He's about to talk to you. And I think there was an interact button where you kind of are given the opportunity to take him down. And what do? I smother him with a pillow. Completely smother him. He goes to sleep. And he's sleeping on his bed, dead, but no one really knows anything. He's just kind of asleep on the couch. Proceeded on with the mission from there. That's when I did the saving thing, where I kind of, like, wanted to make sure, okay, I got my objective. It was very quick and easy. No one's seen anything. Let's start from here. And I think with Francesca, I ended up following her to see her path. I tried doing the electrocute with the water method, where you kind of unscrew the water tap and like kind of make her walk through it and get electrocuted. Every time I did that, I was spotted or like.
Wait, where did
like
you
that.
find her? Where was she?
She was patrolling. Just I can't like pinpoint exactly like a location, but it was an outdoor patio-ish area with like pots and flowers that she kind of walked through. It was right where like there was a hose with water that people can like you see like that's a path that an NPC is going to be walking through. That's where I ended up seeing her, and it was. Eventually, where I did take her down was when she went and sat in her office, and I used my coin trick where I'd lure out the 2 guards nearest to her. When 2 guards would come out, I would take them down completely.
I love that
aside.
in your game, the most useful thing were coins. You I can imagine you two just walking around a town in Italy, just chucking coins at people, firing from the hip.
I call it strategic discharging of said coins. No, so that was my the easy, not the easiest way, but the way I found it always worked. Just get the guys in the locations I needed. That way I can take them down and not trigger any alarms. And then by the time that happened, and I moved them, I want to say I shot her directly in the face or in the chest or whatever it may be in her office. There was no one around to hear anything because all the guards were taken care of ahead of time, and no guards came to replace or anything like that. That's how I took her down. Now, this is where I kind of am embarrassed. It took me a really long time to eventually get down into like the laboratory, which is underneath this entire compound. I think I got a swipe card from her to get underneath it, but regardless, fast forward, that was not that important.
I think the swipe card was like in 3 or 4 different spots.
Oh, there were so many swipe cards that you could pick up.
I either got it from her or I picked it up somewhere else, but I eventually got underground, and you see this like mega fortress with like patrolling machine gun guys, and I could not find a reasonable way to get to the actual toxic virus. Eventually, after maybe an hour of like trial and error, trying to advance, getting discovered, not knowing what to do, I got into the compound. I'm dressed as like the hazmat suit guys, completely in there. And then I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but once you're in there, you're told, the guy's telling you, hey, let's like activate the system to destroy it or whatever it is. The alarm goes off while I spent an hour to get into this unit. The alarm completely goes off, and he's like, hey, what are you doing? Put that down. I picked up a machine gun and started unloading fury. And it got to the point where I was like, you know what?
Had the Jacob moment of like, I got 95% of the way here, and I'm just fed up, so everyone's got to die now.
And the best part is they were funneling into this hazmat area because they couldn't shoot through it, so they were all coming in. So there's like a little like kind of smoke area, one by one. Take them down, take their bullets and ammo, take them down. I must have taken down dozens. Eventually, I take just enough down to be able to run through outside, jumped on the water plane, and exited the mission because I already destroyed the virus, got all the targets, left the mission, and I never wanted to bring it up.
What a stylish exit.
Yeah, that's essentially the 3 targets taken down, completed in the most embarrassing way possible. I didn't play the rest of the game at all like that, but that was the one mission where I said, no, I'm not doing this the nice way. Like, let's just finish this.
You pulled a Jacob where you're like a rabid animal that's caught in a trap, and you're just like, I need to get out of here!
Literally, like, what else were they supposed to do? I finished everything, very smooth, and there was no getting out of it, and I knew that I couldn't figure out how to actually get in there the clean way, and then by the time that I got so close to actually destroying it the legal way or whatever it may be, I messed it up, and then the warning came off. Everyone started pointing guns at me, so goodbye.
Jacob, tell me your story.
So
I think we're a little bit closer in that
yeah.
We did not find the therapist.
So I ended up going with the Sous Chef method. Is that
Okay.
how you did it?
No.
Okay, this is so great. So, you start on a bench with a newspaper, and you're like very like
Blending in.
Blending in.
Wear a nice Italian suit, summer
exactly,
suit.
beautiful summer suit, and you stand up, and then I just went over to the right, and when you go over
Looking
to the
a
right,
lot like Helmut Kruger.
no, there's no Helmut Kruger.
No, but looking quite a bit like
Yes.
Helmut Kruger, a male
Yes.
model, of course.
So if you go to the right, what you'll see is that there's a woman who's yelling up she's near a van, and she's yelling up into an apartment to a man in like almost like a movie-esque kind of moment where she's like, hey, today's your first day.
Little bro, I pulled all the strings for you. Let's go.
Yeah, I got you this job with this guy. His name's Caruso. I don't know. You have to cook for him. He needs his special spaghetti. Get out of
so
bed.
cool.
Let's go.
Bippity boppity boopity.
You're Italian, so you can.
I can make jokes.
Bippity boppity boop. I can't do that. So that's when
And he's like, sis, you need to have a bigger perspective on life. This is not going to be the thing that I do forever.
Yeah. So that's when the first opportunity pops up. So what I ended up doing is I snuck around and into the apartment, and it's like a multi-floor apartment. So I just, rang his doorbell. Ding dong, hello. He opened the door, and I just silenced pistol, shot him in the head.
Wow.
Oh,
Just like
Jacob, you're hanging out with me too much.
I know.
Yeah, no joke.
Balls of steel, just right in front of his face, and just shot him in the head. And like went into his apartment quickly, and like I didn't have to hide him because he lives by himself. And I took his clothes and just kind of walked right out. Like very simple. I think you could pick up a kitchen knife or something in there too. But that's what I did. Is I picked up his uniform, and like you, I had to leave like a clown car-esque level of equipment that I brought with me because I realized in the second mission that you could change your loadout.
Right.
So I was like, great, I'm going to bring this mine, and I'm going to bring this gun. But then I'm like, oh shoot, I can't take any of this in the mansion with me. So, oh darn, here we go. So walked in with no weapons except my kitchen knife, and found my first day of work where you report to the chef who's having a very hard time satisfying Caruso and his desire to have the spaghetti that he wants, like his grandmother used to make in the old country, the same way. So you walk into the kitchen, and he's just like, why don't you just go over there and try and make the sauce better? So one of the things that you can find in the kitchen, if you look enough, is rat poison. So what I ended up doing, he's like, just stir it a little bit, make it your own. So I just put some rat poison in the sauce and just mixed it a bit, and it's okay. Ring the dinner bell. Let's get him going. So ring the dinner bell, and that's when Caruso comes to his very scenic spot where he loves to eat his spaghetti, surrounded by his 2 bodyguards. So I'm just sitting there in the kitchen near my peppers, just sitting there. I want to chop my peppers, but I can't. But I'm just sitting there and I'm waiting, and I'm going, wonder what's going to happen here. So I saved it right there. And so the first time that Caruso eats his spaghetti that's full of rat poison, he ends up being okay, and he starts his new route, but then he goes, oh, my stomach, and he goes off onto one of the side cliffs without his bodyguards and starts throwing up. So that's when I went, okay, that's what I need to do. So I scummed a little bit, like maybe 2 minutes before that. He ate his spaghetti again, and I was already in the spot where he was throwing up. So what I did was, as soon as he went to throw up, and his bodyguards were like maybe 15 feet away, I snapped his neck and just dumped him in the dumpster.
Okay.
Didn't steal his clothes, just like took him,
Right.
dumpster. Great, that's done. So the second target, Francesca, that's her name, correct?
Francesca De Santis, yes.
Francesca De Santis. What I ended up doing for her was a little less elegant. So what I ended up doing is making my way slowly through the mansion. And as a chef, you're allowed a certain amount of access to the mansion. So there were a few different options of costumes that you could go for. I think there were maids, there were like security who are all dressed up in like Uncharted style, like short sleeves, like all the bad guys in
leather
Uncharted.
sling for a gun.
100%. So I think at the first opportunity I had to take one of them out, I just took one of them out and took their clothing. I think it was in the mansion, and like nothing special. Like first person I found, just like take his costume and let's go. So what I did here next was the special part. So I ended up discovering that there was an attic in this house. So if you go to the top floor and then go past where Francesca is, Mo, you mentioned that there's an area where she kind of walks around there. There's multiple ways that you can get to this attic. I believe you can like climb a pipe to like slowly make your way up from floor to floor, or you can just go through the mansion. So I go through the mansion, make my way to the attic, and at that point, there's two guys in the attic, and they give you an opportunity to get a safe. So I'm like, oh, cool. Maybe this safe will lead me somewhere. So, kill both of those guys.
Like with what?
With my bare hands.
Okay.
No, actually with the kitchen knife. So I just kitchen knife, just shanked them both and just put them, because you can put two people in each one of the containers. So I just with my kitchen knife and just like put them in a cupboard for later.
Also,
I
think
killed
it's
them
hilarious that you can like drop a body into one of those containers and then hop in yourself.
Yep.
It's like, oh, just hanging out here with my
with
knocked out friend.
You're cold-blooded. You're not even like you have no emotions. You're Agent 40 effing 7.
Yeah. So this was like the second non-target that I'd killed. So I'll leave it here. I killed 23 people in this mission.
How did you kill that many?
I'll get onto this in a bit. So what I did was I killed those two people, realized there was a safe. I'm like, cool. But then I realized that there are these propane tanks in the attic. So there are these propane tanks, and next to the propane tank is an intake where the fires are on the floor below. So what I end up doing just to cause chaos is there were a bunch of propane tanks in the attic. So I just started throwing propane tanks down in the attic. From the attic down to the floor below.
Jacob's setting the villa on fire.
Yeah, so what it does is it actually, like, the floors below, anyone that's in the vicinity of the fireplace just gets killed. So to cause chaos, the first time I just threw a propane tank down. And then I threw another one and another one. And then I realized, like...
Another one.
Another one. DJ Khaled style. Yuck. Mo, you have a question.
Yeah. Do you think this was actually a like method of like killing that the developers put in, or Jacob, are you innovating once again?
No.
Jacob's an innovator.
I'm a leader. I'm an innovator, not a follower.
Right.
But this was not the way to go about it, because if you throw it multiple times, like, people are going to be like, hey, is someone in the attic? And then they go and figure out, like, hey, there's someone there. We should go.
Is that what happened?
That's totally what happened.
I think the ultimate way is like if a challenge didn't pop up saying, hey, congratulations, you found the propane bombs, then yeah, this is definitely just like you just using your imagination and murdering any which way you can do it.
I appreciate the innovation.
Yeah, so the way I ended up doing is I saved scum a little bit behind, still stabbed my two guys.
Because you want those two deaths. Yeah, you want non-target kills.
I just wanted to get those non-target kills. I didn't understand the scoring system until this episode, in all fairness. So what I did is Francesca does her round on, like, not the attic, but the floor below the attic. So what I ended up doing is with my kitchen knife, I ended up going down to that floor and just whipping my kitchen knife at her head.
This is gold.
Yeah, and then just, like, walking away.
You just have a thing about throwing items at people.
Throwing sharp objects at... So when that happens, like, all of her guards just start freaking out because they're like, where did that knife come from? So it took me a while because I didn't want to, like... I saved it when I killed her, and I didn't want to abandon. I'm like, no, I got to see this through. I got to get through here. So it took me a while to sneak through the mansion, because at some points I just had to kill people because they're like, hey, what are you doing here? You're suspicious. But after a few tries, I ended up getting out of the mansion. And at that point, the third objective is make sure to destroy the virus. And I'm going to be honest with you, I had no idea how to do it.
Because you weren't in the mansion anymore.
No, I was not in the mansion, but I was like, where do I actually go to do this? And I had collected 3 key cards, and I'm like, I wonder if what happens if I have 3 key cards. So just by chance, what I ended up doing is when you, like, leave the mansion, there are multiple entrances to get into the bunker in the basement. So I ended up just finding one by chance as I'm walking around this mansion. And so I enter the bunker, and right when you enter the bunker, there's a soldier who's got his heavy machine gun. Just walked up and killed him, and then slowly snuck down. Figured
Is this
out
in, like, the catacomb area?
Yeah, this is the catacomb area that
Sewer.
Mo said with the plane where the virus is being contained. There's like guys in hazmat suits, there's guys in scientist uniforms, and there's guys in like heavy guards.
Yep.
So took out one heavy guard and then just kind of slowly made my way down. There were some points where in that bunker people recognized you and you had to distract a guard away from like a choke point. So one example was there's a guard who was right at the staircase to get down to the lower level where the virus was. So there's a generator that you'd have to kick off to like get him to go, hey, where'd the power go? And be able to walk by him. What I ended up doing is I didn't really understand so someone had said, hey, if you turn off so outside of where the virus is being held, I guess there's like a temperature control or something like that.
Yep.
And if you hit that, my thought was, okay, if I hit this off, I'll just be able to like walk away.
James, like, where's the propane tanks? where can I set up a bomb in here?
Where can I set up the bomb? Not what happened. So I walked up to the temperature control and I thought, like, if I hit this and just walk away slowly, I'll be able to win. So I hit it and then walked away to the plane. I'm like, great, I'm going to be able to escape. Hitting the temperature control on its own does nothing.
Yeah.
So
Wait, Jacob, let me guess. You find a screwdriver and you throw it at the tank itself and we hope for the best.
Nope, but it was very close because at that point, like I have in the past episodes, I got to 90% and I'm like, I need to just mess everything up here. So I killed a guard with a shotgun. I actually had a guard with a shotgun, so I just walked into the hazmat area, and someone is like, one of the hazmat guys is like, "You're not supposed to be in here."
Well, bam.
I just started
Well, bam.
murdering people with the shotgun.
Boom, boom.
And it's a wonderful, like you, Mo, it's a wonderful choke point. So I just kind of went inside the hazmat area, and just guys would keep coming to me, and I just wha-bam, shotgun, wha-bam, shotgun, wha-bam, shotgun. So if we're counting correctly, I killed the two guys
With the stabby.
the two stabby.
You killed a legion of people with your propane bombs.
But like I think in the final playthrough, I ended up not killing like the propane guys. The propane guys were in a save scum.
Gotcha.
But so I killed 2 people with knives, and then I killed 21 people with my shotgun.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Yes.
You went No Country for Old Men on them.
No, like I was at 95%. I'm like, I'm going to take this plane and I'm going to leave as soon as I murder all these fools and get rid of this virus. So I, killed the virus, and anyone that would come towards me, I would just murder them in cold blood. And so I got to the point where there were very few guys left in the level. I almost died a few times because let's just say this game is not a shooter. It's like it's like a game.
It's designed where you're not supposed to shoot at people.
Yes, you're not supposed to shoot people. If you're shooting, you're doing it wrong.
Yep.
I was doing it wrong.
I agree.
So I killed 21 other people and made it on the plane and left.
Amazing.
Yeah, it has the shooting mechanic, but it's not a mechanic you want to use often because it's painful. But Jacob, did you know that plane was an escape route beforehand, or no?
No, I kind of just thought I had to like leave out through and I'm like, I'm gonna have to shoot my way out of this whole thing.
Yeah,
but
my whole thing was when it happened to me is I took everyone down and I was just like frustrated. I was like, you know what? I'm going to get killed by all these guys anyway. But then I saw them like coming in slowly and I was able to take them down easily. And I was like, maybe I should just step outside for a second. And that's when you notice, hey, that's an escape route right there. I could have sworn I had bullets flying at me like all the time as I was rushing to the plane. Click the interaction button and off I went with guns shooting at me. I didn't even clear that like level at all. It was just I destroyed the virus and I ran to that plane.
What I appreciate is that you guys have like no regard for like the logical consistency of the story, because it's just like you're supposed to be the most badass assassin, and they send you in because they don't want a trace of anyone being there. They want it to be believed that it was like a natural occurrence, and you're just like, nah, everyone's dead.
But see, I start like an intellectual, and I'm like, how do we do this the correct way? And like probably start off and like do okay, and then I just kind of like a blatant disregard for any rules of engagement and just say, murder. Let's do
Murder's
it.
the solution.
Let's see how it was artistically done. Michael Ruffolo, guide us through your playthrough.
Okay, so
He's your artisanal.
handcrafted,
Yes.
handcrafted murders.
Like a beautiful tortellini.
So I spent so much time before I approached actually solving this, just running around the town and just being absolutely amazed at how big and how well detailed and how alive it is. The very first note that I have for this level is just wow, because it is nuts. Because I did so well on the Paris mission, I unlocked a sniper rifle, as a weapon that I could bring into my safe house. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to make sure that weapon is waiting for me at the safe house. But I did not know where the safe house was. So I spent so much time walking around, sneaking in places that I should not have been. I went to the lawyer's office. I went to the place above the lawyer's office where there's a bohemian guy smoking a joint and has some very well-placed windows if you're going to snipe out of them. They're all open. They all overlook the villa.
So that's what that purpose was, because while I was trying to figure out like where to find the rat poison and how to get into the restaurant, I ended up climbing all the way to the top and finding that little hippie's place. And I'm like, I wonder like what challenge I could like complete by getting up there. So when you walk up there, you see a bunch of like tie-dye posters, like smoke everywhere. It was like, so that's the purpose. Is if you got a sniper rifle, I'm assuming. Sorry to cut you off.
No problem. Yeah, I assume that's what it is. So here's the thing. I was never able to find my safe house, or I assumed there was a sniper rifle waiting for me. And there was clearly no sniper rifle strapped to my back, ready to go. So my plan this whole time was like, okay, I'm going to snipe someone, and then I'm going to sneak my way in, and I'm going to, tactfully take care of someone, the remainder. But I was not able to do that. So in my journeys, I stumbled across a sleeping personal investigator on a park bench. I don't know if you guys bumped into him at all. No?
Nope.
I bumped into... one of the key things that I made sure I had in my loadout this time was a lockpick. And it is one of the most useful things you can get, because the two ways to break into buildings in this game that I've seen so far are a crowbar. I mean, when you're not throwing crowbars at people, you can use them to break in.
Kobe!
Or you can use lockpicks. And lockpicks are a very silent, easy way to get into a place without drawing too much attention. So I spent about an hour, maybe hour and a half, walking through the town, lockpicking into every place that I could. And one of the key things you come to understand is the more security there is, the more security cameras, the closer you are to the places they don't want you to be. So I broke into a flower shop, and I found some flowers. And I broke into a place right next to this personal investigator, and I started walking through the town, and I stumbled across the brother and sister who were yelling at each other in very Italian fashion that Jacob found. And then there was a hairdresser, a hair salon, that I just decided to pop in and overhear a conversation where they were talking about this one lady who's so in love with this personal investigator. So I was like, okay, this is cool. I'm learning some stuff about him. And so I go and I wake the dude up, which, let me tell you, is not easy, because, like, how do you wake up a character, right? You bump into him and they're like, well, why is this guy on top of me? Mm-hmm. So I was chucking coins, Kobeing it right at his face. And so I wake him up, I tail him, I take his outfit, I ambush him in a washroom, wear his clothes, and end up getting a phone call from Francesca De Santis.
No.
Yes. And so I meet her at a nondescript pier down by the water, and she says, and she's got 2 bodyguards with her, and she says, look, I know that you pulled together a file for Silvio. Like, I know you did it, and I need you to tell me what was in it. And, your boy, the private investigator, says, sorry, this is like, there's confidentiality involved. She's like, look, you're a private investigator, not a cop. I will pay you handsomely to tell me what it is. And you say no, and she's like, that's unfortunate. I'm going to have to figure something out. And so she gets on her phone, and I hit her with a nice little syringe, and I pop her in a nice little dumpster.
What about her bodyguards?
Her bodyguards are at the end of the tunnel, preventing anyone from coming in.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
Okay.
So I have neatly disposed of the very first target.
Well done.
And I was like, pat on the back. I did it. No problem. Fantastic. Now I got to get inside. So I realized, okay, the flowers definitely have something to do with it. If I just spend some more time walking around, I'll figure it out.
Could you pick up her phone? Is that a thing that you can do?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
But what I did end up finding was an underground passageway that would take you essentially into the church. And I went through the whole church, and I took a church staff outfit. I took the Holy Father's outfit. I took every outfit that there was in this church. I was loaded up with wrenches and knives and kitchen knives and combat knives and snub-nosed pistols and just everything under the sun. And I'm like, okay, I'm loaded up. I'm ready to go. Let's get to it. And so I walk to the front gate, and they're like, nope, you can't do this.
What were you dressed up as at that point?
I think I was dressed as like the church staff.
Okay.
And I had keys to the church. I had passcodes to everything. Like, I was ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, there's no door that I'd be able to come across that I can't get through. And they're like, you can't come in here. I'm like, God damn. So I look around. I'm like, I've got to be missing something obvious. And just outside to the left of the archway where they're, frisking you, there's a truck, a flower delivery truck that's crashed into a tree. And you walk over and you find out that this guy, the flower delivery guy, is on the phone saying like, hey, yeah, I'm going to be late, like blah, 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 blah. So easy. I've got my outfit for the delivery store back in the store. I run, I put that on. I come back with my bouquet of flowers. I've dropped a clown car size pile of items I should not be having. And this is where I'm freaking out because I do not have any weapons that I would normally be able to kill someone with. My backup is always a silenced pistol.
Yep.
And
you can't take that in.
And you can't take it in, right?
You can't take poison in either, can you?
I don't know.
Because on the menu, it'll be like, hey, this item is illegal.
Yes.
If you get frisked, it will be taken away from
yes.
you. Or
it'll
it's
tell
game
you.
over.
Yes. But I wasn't sure. And anyways, anything that I knew would be illegal or I would not be able to have, I dropped. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to be creative. So I pull out the bouquet of flowers, and they say, go talk to the butler. And the butler's like, fantastic. It's the anniversary of his mother's death. He's going to want them at the grave. If you can drop them off there, it'll be, he's such a devoted son. It'll be great. It'll be ready for him. So the butler escorts you to the grave, and you drop off the flowers, and he says, just drop them off over there, and then come back to get payment. And so I drop them off right at the grave, and there's 2 little bunkers that you can hide in. So I hide in the bunker, and he comes through with his security, and he says, like, can you guys leave me alone, like, just for any time? If Ether has a problem with it, like, I'll write them a memo, or they can write me a memo. Like, I just need some alone time right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so he goes to grieve for his mother, and I sneak up behind him, and I'm like, Silvio, it's time for your nap. And so I put him to sleep, and I tuck him in a little bunker, and I'm like, okay, well, I can't go the way that his bodyguards went, because they'll be like, well, one thing went in and another thing came out, and this does not add up.
Mm-hmm.
So I say, okay, I got to go the other direction.
Yep.
And I end up finding an entryway, like just right around the corner from the grave, to the underpass.
So we almost found the bunker, all 3 of us, by accident, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I had spent some time looking at the map, knowing that the main bunker was under the mansion on level 0,
mm-hmm.
or the lowest. So I'm like, I know it's the entryway has got to be there.
And I think if you use your instincts mode, like it gives you an idea of where your objectives are.
Right.
Depending on like if you're in a building, it's tough. But I think if you're like in a general area, it'll be like, hey, if you look, there'll be like a little red blip saying like, hey, your person, maybe your objective's below you.
Can we talk about like what that instinct mode was? Like, is he a superhero? Like, Batman gets away with it because he's freaking Batman. Assassin's Creed, it's still like a digital game
that
where
for you the understanding is he's Batman. He's still a human. Like, why is Agent 47
He's got
less
technology. He could have goggles in his mask. He's got Alfred watching his back. He knows where everything is. Fair. Yeah, whereas like this is just a guy with a gun.
I think it's supposed to represent his highly trained senses. Similar to
seeing
Batman.
through walls like kilometers away or hundreds of meters away, I guess.
Highly trained senses.
I think that's where you're hung up. It's not like I just walk up to people and murder them with a pistol. It's like, tell me, what are the motivations of this character's instincts mode? I love that's where you're caught up.
Yeah, no, like how does that even where's this superpower coming from? It's never addressed, and I want answers.
Where's his origin story?
What? Well, I'll look into it. I'll see if I can find answers for you.
Okay, that's your homework for episode 3. Go ahead and write that down.
So I'm writing it down, and so I've got into the basement. I've got into the little caverns. I knock out a super soldier type guard. I take his weapon. I walk down. I'm like, fantastic. Here's I realize that there's an entryway, a progression to getting to the virus section. I'm like, well, before I go there, there's this little place across from it that the scientists keep going into. So I went in there. I knocked them out. I took their outfits. I'm like, well, now I've got the correct disguise to get in. And
smart.
I walked in and I blended in by looking into the microscope, not knowing what I was doing until everyone had their backs turned. And then I went to the next section and then I found the hazmat suit. And thankfully the hazmat suit is so thick no one can like see through your disguise. And so I went into the hazmat area and I'm like, okay, there are a lot of different computers here. And I'm sure that there's a section and all of the hazmat guys are huddled around the virus and looking at the things to do there. I'm like, okay, some rats in the corner here using the rat poison on them. And when I do that, the guys come over and it distracts one of the hazmat guys. They're like, why are the rats dying?
Yeah.
And then I went to the other section where there's the mechanical arm mixing different viruses together. And I mix those together. And it sets off an alarm, and so I move. Not an alarm, but
like, that's so smart. I'm caught up on the rat using the rat poison on the rats.
Well,
like
I had a moment of laughter.
That was so genius.
It's like, well, what else is rat poison for?
Michael Ruffolo, the artisanal killer.
handcrafted kills. And so then I went to the other corner and I typed in a computer, and I think I destroyed all the security records. And then I went to another computer and I screwed up the ventilation system. And then I went to, now that everyone was distracted, I went to the virus and I'm like, raise the temperature. And I walked out and it's like, virus destroyed. And I'm like, well, great. Now I just have to get into my regular scientist outfit and then walk out. And then I'm like, oh, there's a plane right here. And walked onto the plane and had my stylish exit.
I was so close because I think I did the robot arm one where like they're mixing the viruses, and then once like the one guy was distracted, I want to say I did something else too, maybe the computer system. But by the time I walked to the actual like virus to destroy it, someone eventually turned around and was like, "Hey, like you're not supposed to be there. What are you doing?" And that's when like I ran into like the whole guns a-blazing, take everyone down.
Yep.
But I was probably maybe like 10 seconds away from being all clear, ready to go, jumping on that plane without murdering.
I mean, I'm not saying I did that perfectly. I definitely save scummed, I think, twice.
Okay.
The first time I walked right up to the virus and I'm like, yes, turn the temperature dial to max on this. And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, okay. There are things around here that I have to use. And then I figured out the right order.
Gosh. That is so perfect.
It was
Art.
amazing. It made me feel so good about like completing it, because I realized like not only did I do, really well, but the narrative of it made sense. I'm like, Silvio disappeared, Francesca disappeared, and the virus just happened to be destroyed, and I don't know, some guy got on a plane and flew away.
Mm-hmm. He's a scientist.
Yeah,
he can take the plane, right?
Exactly.
So how many stars did you end up getting on
I got
this?
4 to 5 stars. Wow. I got 120,000 points. And again, it was all the same things. It was no non-target kills. No bodies were discovered. All of the typical things that I think Hitman wants you to aim for.
Mo?
Yeah, I think I'm going to keep track of my stars, but I want to say one thing. I don't think I unlocked the sniper rifle. And if that was based off of stars, I think that tells you how I did in episode 1.
Hey, Michael, so we're both playing this on the Xbox.
Yeah.
And so you know what my star rating and what my leaderboard score is. So can you remind me what my score was?
If I help you remember, I think it's just unkind. It's not a kind thing.
I think it was a number for sure. It was a whole number.
Is it?
Is it a whole number?
It was a big fat goose egg.
Yeah, it was 0. My score was
what?
0. Yeah, so I think for every non-player character, and I can pull it up because I sent it to our Discord.
Yeah.
I said, hey guys, on our Discord, look at what I did. I'm bad at this video game.
I snapped.
I snapped more than just necks. I snapped in this game. So in our Discord, which you can join if you go to leftbehindgame.club, some great folks sharing game deals and talking about video games. I posted my score summary, which for every single non-player you kill, you lose 5,000 points. So I ended up, completing all 3 objectives. So I got 20,000 points for that. I ended up destroying my evidence, which was great. So I got 20,000 points for that. But for every non-player character or non-target kill that I did, you lose 5,000 points. So I lost 115,000 points.
I laughed to myself when I was looking at the leaderboards. I'm like, Jacob has 0 points. Did Jacob lie about finishing this mission? Did Jacob not actually do this one yet? I'm like, let me take a look. And I was like, oh, now I get it.
Yeah, I'm really negative 75,000 points, but they don't track negatives.
I want to nail this down even more. Sorry, Jacob, but I want to just recap this. So Jacob earned 40,000 points. Yep. He lost 115,000 points. So when he says he got 0, oh no, they rounded up to 0.
The accounting doesn't work there.
Yeah.
So am I the best killer here because I was?
Think you are. You got the most
because I'm so negative.
You got the most.
Killers are like morally negative people. So like technically, if we want to talk about completeness, then like I am the best Agent 47 here.
If the aim of the game is to kill people, you did it the most.
I did it. I did the most killing. Yep. So
Mo did the most guns.
Yep. How many people did you kill, Mo? Did you track it or no?
I don't know. If it does keep track of it, I'll bring it up in the next episode. But I'd have to boot up the game to kind of double check.
I
think I should keep my scores because there's leaderboards. There's definitely ones on PC where like I can see the previous missions. But
so just before we close here, any tips for me for like doing better at this game? Because so far I like to throw weapons and murder people. Do you have any tips, Mike? From the handcrafted killer himself.
The artisanal handcrafted kills.
Mm-hmm.
I would just suggest taking your time with it.
Okay.
And understanding that there is a way out. It does get better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mo.
It seems like, not that I'm an expert or a master Hitman player like Michael, but I think just whenever you see those like notification and blurps, like the blip saying, hey, you should complete it this way, or like a suggestion, just kind of follow it along. Don't force it. If you see a screwdriver, don't throw it. If you see a knife, keep it on the cutting board. Just kind of follow it along.
I just like to keep in mind, like, would this make sense for the narrative of the story after this mission is over?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Would it make sense that, like, I just unloaded on a room full of people eating sushi and there are no witnesses left behind? That's true, but is that in the spirit of the game?
I think moving forward, what I'd like to maintain from a role-playing perspective is I think I want to be the
you're playing a role. You're not Jacob.
Role.
You're playing a role.
No, I'm not Jacob. I'm playing Agent 47.
Gotcha.
What I want my Agent 47 to do is to throw knives or sharp objects at people's faces. Like, that's what I want.
You do you, baby boo.
Yeah, I'm going to do me. Hopefully it's less kills. Like, I'm just going to kill essential targets, but I want to do it with a screwdriver or a knife. With style. I want to I want to Kobe them, but with Kobe and do it with a knife or a screwdriver.
I can't wait to hear the stories of it.
Mo?
Yeah, I think next up we're going to a war zone-esque area in the next episode. So maybe you might need to use anything you can find to take down some of the next targets. Let's not limit ourselves.
Great. So that's all we got. So, gentlemen, we'll start with you, Mo. If people want to find out about what you do on the internet, where can they do so?
Yeah, you can find me at Murtadi everywhere on all social media platforms or murtadi.com. Michael?
Find me at RuffoloM, RUFFOLOM, on most social places, and michaelruffolo.com.
Do you own handcraftedkillers.com?
Not yet, but I will right after this.
You should buy that domain. It's a good one.
Looking up Namecheap right now.
Jacob McCourt, at Jacob McCourt is where you can find me on all social media platforms, and at jacobmccourt.com. Michael, what do we say as we close every show?
And that, my friends, is one less episode left behind.